I've never thought I'd question my own sanity, but last summer changed everything. It all started when my best friend, Sarah, announced her engagement. Sarah was someone I grew up with, and we've shared everything from childhood secrets to adult heartbreaks, so when she asked me to be her maid of honor, I felt honored but terrified. The wedding was grand, extravagant by every measure, and I wanted everything to be perfect for her. That's when the dress came into the picture. The moment I saw it, I felt my stomach tighten. The floor-length silk gown was beautiful, but the plunging neckline and sheer sides left little to the imagination. For someone like me, who never felt comfortable in the spotlight, it was a nightmare. As if sensing my hesitation, Sarah insisted I look like a hot bridesmaid because the dress is meant to show off our beauty. I felt like a prop rather than a person, a mere decoration for Sarah's fairy tale, and as I stared at the dress hanging in my closet, I realized I couldn't bring myself to wear it. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands, literally, sneaking some fabric from a craft store to alter the dress a bit. Nothing drastic, just enough to cover my shoulders and up the neckline slightly. I felt guilty but convinced myself that it was okay since I was still honoring the essence of the dress but adapting it to my own comfort. The night before the wedding, I stayed up late, stitching away, feeling proud of myself until dread settled in. What if Sarah saw it? Would she flip? I told myself that all would be fine, that this was just for me, for my confidence, but as I slipped into that gown the next day, I felt a chill run down my spine like I was about to walk into a lion's den. The venue was filled with laughter and shimmering lights, and the moment I stepped through the entrance, I could feel all eyes on me. But instead of ridicule or judgment, I saw nods of approval, murmured compliments about how elegant I looked. It was euphoric until I spotted Sarah, who stood frozen, eyes wide in disbelief, her mouth moving but the words lost in the frantic music around us. Before I could process her reaction, she stormed over to me, seething. "Did you alter my dress?" she asked through gritted teeth, her voice devoid of warmth. I stammered, trying to explain how it was too revealing for my taste, but her expression hardened further. "You weren't supposed to change anything, this is my wedding." I felt the temperature in the room drop, and it became painfully clear that her dream of perfect bridesmaids and perfection had been shattered by someone who dared to adapt their own version of beauty. As she dragged me outside, the laughter from the party faded into a distant echo, and it felt like I was about to be sentenced. "You made a mockery of me," she whispered fiercely. A part of me wanted to yell back, to explain that it was about comfort, not mockery, but all of the words seemed trapped in my throat. Before I could speak, she turned and raced back inside, leaving me outside, alone amidst the fading light. The next hour was a whirlwind of chaotic emotions. It disrupted the flow of the wedding entirely, while I stood there, shaking, feeling like a pariah. Guests started casting sideways glances in my direction, some whispering, while others just outright stared. That's when the uncertainty morphed into something darker. I knew I had crossed a line. The coldness from Sarah seeped deeper inside me as I replayed our confrontation and my own insecurity that led to this moment. Was I really the villain in this story? Or was I merely trying to reclaim a piece of my one fading sense of self at the expense of someone else's happiness? After the ceremony, I retreated to the bathroom, convinced I needed to gather my thoughts, but as I approached the mirror, I noticed something uncanny about my reflection. My altered dress, the fabric I thought was meant to help me, seemed to distort my own likeness in an almost grotesque manner. The neckline I was proud of now began to look jagged and monstrous, the sleeves felt like chains wrapping around me, pulling tighter and tighter. I blinked, and for a fleeting moment, I swore I saw another face, a twisted, smirking mask that looked like me but wasn't. I staggered back, suddenly feeling like I was trapped in someone else's nightmare. Shaking my head, I took a breath, reassured myself that it was just my mind playing tricks, but the fear crawled deeper into my bones. When I finally left the bathroom, I found the reception room in chaos. Sarah was surrounded by a group of bridesmaids, enraged faces all around her, casting accusatory glances at me like I was the villain in their beloved tale. The apprehension in the air was palpable, every laugh a bit too sharp, every cheer unnaturally loud. Before I could even register what was happening, I heard whispers form into words, accusing me of sabotaging the wedding, of making my insecurities the focus of Sarah's big day, as if I was some attention seeker reveling in the chaos I'd concocted. In those moments, I felt their judgment slice through me like a dagger, and that's when I caught sight of my own reflection in the highly polished plates scattered across the tables. I looked at the corrupted image of myself in the dress, and suddenly it struck me, I wasn't merely altering a dress, I was trying to alter my reality, to fit into a world where I didn't belong, where beauty meant something else entirely, something that warped my very sense of being. The music played on, the chaos intensified, and I felt a desperate urge to escape, to shed the skin of my own creation. I turned and fled while they continued to hurl insults behind me, the laughter losing its warmth, becoming a cruel echo that taunted my every step. That night was a blur, a prison of my own making that left me shaken, haunted by the reflection of what I had become. The next morning, Sarah and I spoke. She never forgave me, claiming I ruined her day, that I should have understood the importance of sacrifices for the sake of friendship. But as we parted ways, I couldn't shake the feeling that my desire to alter that dress, to claim my own narrative, had unleashed something far more sinister. I'd broken a bond not just with her, but with a version of myself who sought acceptance in a world where the beauty seemed so unforgiving, and I became a specter of that night, roaming through my thoughts, knowing in the deepest chambers of my mind that sometimes, you might not just alter a dress, you might alter the very fabric of who you are, and in doing so, you risk losing everything that you held dear.